You're watching NappyCast by Jason Nappy Weather. I'm tracking severe heat and also a severe thunderstorm outbreak. All of that happening coming up here. I'll focus on Maine in a couple of minutes. And really the northeast of New England is really where all eyes are going to be for a lot of this here. So right now you're seeing clouds just blow up over the Great Lakes heading into eastern Canada. That is from a leftover storm that rolled through North Dakota and Minnesota yesterday with severe weather, with big time hail, tornadoes. I was watching extreme meteorologist Reed Timmer last night showing that tornado. He was inside the tornado in North Dakota. Okay, that's all pushing east. Now, it's not going to be as severe when it moves east, but there will be a lot of heat coming with this as the storm pushes in. And really, the heat is going to be the most widespread thing with this system here, with the next couple of days, because the heat's going to affect everyone. The severe weather, not as much when it pushes east. You've got high pressure amping up, really just bubbling up to 600 on the charts here. That is as high as it pretty much gets for a high pressure system starting to amplify. Anytime you see a trough dig out west and a ridge in the east, this time of the year, as we're now in the first full day of summer solstice was last night around 10:30 or so, we are going to now crank heat and humidity coming up around this ridge. So the eastern two-thirds of the country from the Ohio Valley east, record heat is coming tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, and even a portion of Wednesday. I'll break it all down right now. But anytime you see this, okay, you see that big ridge, it means serious heat. So let's take a look at it now in more detail. This takes a look at the risk for extreme heat. Anytime you see that red color, that is a level 3 major threat for extreme heat. And then once you get into the magenta color, which I'm going to show you for Monday, look at the magenta popping up here. Notice here, you have that magenta color popping up from Chicago all the way back to Philadelphia, New York, outside of Albany. That is as extreme as heat as it gets for those places. On Tuesday, things really peak. So you've got major heat, the reds going all the way up into Maine, all the way down to Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, Cincinnati. Just extreme levels of heat. If you do not have sufficient cooling, if you don't have air conditioning and effective cooling, not just regular air conditioning, like extreme levels of air conditioning and cooling, dehumidifiers, then you are going to feel this heat. And in the summertime, it's not just hot in the summer, no big deal, okay? And I'm not making a big deal out of just regular summertime heat, 80 degrees, no big deal. Heat kills more people than any other weather impact, by far. More than tornadoes, more than hurricanes, it is heat, okay? So heat, and more than flooding, it is heat because it affects more people. Look at how many people will be affected by this on Tuesday. Now, there is a break Wednesday as this ridge is going to start to get squashed a little bit by troughing up to the north here. The cold front's going to sag south, but still you've got the magenta color in Cincinnati, Columbus, Pittsburgh, D.C., Richmond, okay, on Wednesday. So incredible extreme levels of heat coming Wednesday, and even Thursday it hangs around into Friday, but it eventually will see relief late next week from the northeast and New England pushing south. And let's take a look now at the record heat coming. This is a forecast for tomorrow. Tomorrow is sneaky hot because it's going to start off with rain in New England, and then northern New England mostly, and then it's going to just all of a sudden in southern Maine you're going to be to 90 degrees. And then look at all this record heat. So anytime you see a circle, that is a forecast for a record high, and you've got a lot of them here. From the Great Lakes all the way into the mid-Atlantic, a run for 100 degrees. This is tomorrow. This is not even the peak heating, which arrives here Monday, and then Tuesday is when things really start to peak. So Tuesday, all the way up from Vermont and Maine down, you've got a run for at least the 90s and widespread 100s popping up on the forecast on Tuesday in the major metropolitan areas, the heat island of Philadelphia. Now, New York City Central Park, it's more difficult to get to 100. Boston, it's more difficult. You're right on the water, but I expect Philadelphia easily is 100 plus. And then we start to see things cool down just a little bit for the middle and the latter part of next week. This is by Friday of next week. Notice here, the front has come down, the ridge has broken down, and things have cooled down outside of DC and basically Virginia, North Carolina, where it's still going to be hot, but it will not be widespread record heat. So here's a look at the temperature anomaly. Look at the temperature versus the forecast, which is versus what it typically is. And anytime you see an anomaly Tuesday afternoon of 30 degrees or 20 degrees above typical, because we're in summer now, officially in summer by way of the calendar, by way of the solstice, anomalies here, look at these anomalies. These are 20 to 25, making a run for 30 degrees above typical. Let's say the typical high is 80. Well, do the math. That you're getting very close to 100 or more for Tuesday, which is when things will peak. It will be Tuesday, but I mean, Sunday and Monday are no slouch. Now, before I zoom into Maine and really dive down in more detail for my loyal followers in Maine, I want to talk about severe weather outlook for your Sunday. So this is Sunday, and it's early Sunday here in the Northeast in New England, okay? And also, you've got around this ridge up towards the upper Midwest and the high plains. Here's your ridge. Here is the severe weather around that ridge, okay? So you've got your old MCS that's moving from the Great Lakes into the Northeast tonight and tomorrow early. And then you've got new severe weather popping up, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, etc. And that's going to be for tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow's forecast. And if you look at this more closely, and I show you tomorrow's forecast, the threat for severe weather, it is a sneaky threat. First of all, it is in the morning time, okay? So for my loyal followers in Maine, for example, notice here, this is Saturday. Let me go ahead and back this up and show you, this is late, basically overnight Saturday. This is Sunday. Now, I expect this is going to get upgraded on Sunday morning. So we'll see what happens with the upgrade here, but this is a level 1 out of 5. So it's a low threat, a marginal risk, but from Bangor to Augusta, all the way through New England and the Northeast, you have a level 1 threat for mostly wind and a little bit of a hail threat, but mostly this is a wind threat, severe wind. So anytime you're talking about wind up around 70, 75, even 80 miles an hour, you could certainly see that pop up. But it's probably more likely it's in the 45 to 60 mile per hour range. But here is that storm. Here is that MCS coming through while you're sleeping after midnight tonight, and then when you're waking up on Sunday throughout the middle of the day, and then it's over by the afternoon, and the heat surges in southern Maine once that sun comes out. So the day on Sunday looks like this in Maine. Southern Maine starts off with rain and thunderstorms in the morning early, and then the sun comes out and the temperature is just going to spike Sunday. It's going to jump 80s, 90s with humidity. It's going to feel like mid-90s and close to 100 in southern Maine, the southwest interior, for tomorrow. This is tomorrow. I'm not even talking about Tuesday yet or Monday. This is tomorrow. So it's going to be a very active day as far as the weather changing. So really enjoy that low humidity that you have in the forecast right now for a good chunk of the East Coast and northern New England, because tomorrow it is going to be changing drastically. So I really have to stress to enjoy that if you don't like heat and humidity, because tomorrow it's going to flip like a switch. Now, in places like Eastport that you see, it's not going to happen tomorrow. Up in the county, not tomorrow. It'll take some more time. But in southern Maine, it's going to flip like a switch. So the dangerous heat arrives Sunday to Tuesday. Not all of Maine, right? But it's going to start off in southern Maine Sunday and then start to move north, okay? So by basically Monday and especially on Tuesday, you're going to see that heat build. So here's the forecast I just made for the mountains for the 10-day forecast. 74, it's beautiful today. Just go for a hike, get outdoors, go to the lake. It looks great. Tomorrow, morning thunder, 78, humidity building. Monday, Tuesday, just an isolated thunderstorm, not widespread. And then Wednesday, we begin to cool off from north to south. And then temperatures go below typical highs with only 60s for highs by the end of next week. Now, inland's different story. 83, sunny, just get out, enjoy yourself. It's not even going to feel like 83 because humidity is nice and low. But then tomorrow, the 86 is going to be very hot. And that's 86 as an average. So in southern Maine, the southwest interior, and Sanford, it's going to be more like 90. Okay, Augusta 86, and northeast of Augusta more like 82, 83. Okay, 88 and then 99. And I'm not joking about the 99. I expect us to make a run for 100 degrees without the humidity on Tuesday for parts of interior Maine. So from around the Capital District, around Augusta to the south and west, you're making a run for 100, okay, which is going to shatter records, and it's going to be very dangerous, especially if you don't have air conditioning, if you don't have a heat pump, a dehumidifier. Go get a dehumidifier now. It's a little bit late, probably aren't a lot for sale, but my recommendation for you is to get a dehumidifier to get you through Sunday, but especially Monday and Tuesday, and even Wednesday. We'll see how far that front makes its way down from the north. Now, for the coastline, a little different story. Today we make a run for 80. There will be a little sea breeze. Sunday it's 89 degrees. Morning thunder to the southern coast. Down east is not going to see 89 on Sunday. Monday we've got obviously onshore flow 75, but very humid. And then Tuesday all bets are off. 95 degrees, heat, humidity. I don't expect a sea breeze. It's going to be very hot. And then Wednesday we begin to cool down from north to south with 60s Thursday and Friday. I mean, we got right very comfortable. Summer is is basically temporarily over or on hold Thursday and Friday, and then we get back into the much more comfortable 70s for late next week. That's the forecast. Go to nappycast.com and jasonnappyweather.com for the latest.